seen the other one. I don't know.
You just live stream it on YouTube and pick your hair on the go.
It doesn't stay live, it comes up afterwards.
Thanks, Lindsay. Okay, we'll call the regular council meeting Tuesday, May 7th to order at 7 p.m. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Indigenous peoples of the Treaty 7 territory and the Otipemisiwak Métis government, District 4. Respect the histories, languages, and cultures of the First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada whose presence continue to enrich our community. Okay, item 2.1, the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda, additions? If not, can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion that the agenda be accepted as prepared.
All in favor?
Uh,
Motion carried. Item 3.1, April 16th, a regular council meeting minutes. Any additions or changes? Okay, if there's none, can I get a motion? Go ahead.
I move that the minutes of the April 16th, 2024 regular council meeting be accepted as presented, and that the minutes of the April 23rd, 2024 special council meeting be accepted as presented.
Well, we'll just do the 16th first.
Oh, okay, you want them individually?
Yeah.
Okay, oh, first one.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, April 23rd, any changes? If not, can I get a motion?
Through the chair, I'll make the motion that the minutes of the April 23rd, 2024 special council meeting be accepted as presented.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We have a few delegations tonight. Item 4.1, Peace Officer Quarterly Update. CPO Stevens.
So the report has been submitted to you already. So this is a quarterly update for the months of January, February, March of 2024. MU focus continues to be the ongoing and daily focus as a visible presence and a proactive identification of glaring town of Crossfield bylaw infractions of residential business properties and town property and infrastructure, as well as observable safety risks, public safety concerns, and calls for service. Number of calls vary from day to day. So some of the focus areas, again, it seems to be ramping up here is RV parking. Seeing more of the RV trailers and whatnot out there. We haven't had any complaints as of yet, but any moment I'm expecting them to start rolling in. Construction traffic is ongoing, still watching that. One area that I'm trying to work with the builders and the developers is the barricaded. And when I say barricaded, I mean, it's supposed to be barricaded area off of Harrison that goes into the Vista properties through the big mud bog.
Yeah.
There are members of the public, residents, as well as some contractors and other commercial vehicles that are making use of that area because there is a huge gap. I spoke with the developer a few weeks ago, and he had committed to me that he was going to put another barrier in there to keep people from going through. It has still not been there. I tried phoning him recently and I didn't get anywhere with that. So probably in the next day or two, I'm going to be following up and giving some extra motivation to do that because there was some concerns of a gas line in there. I don't know that to be true. I don't know there's actually a gas line in that area, but one of the residents saw something that looked suspicious. So they were concerned of an explosion and one that might affect their property.
I think we also asked them last year not to do that.
Yeah.
So
They
because we
used
didn't
to-
want the traffic, the construction traffic down that way.
Yeah, they used to have another barrier there and I don't know what they did with it. But anyway, that's a goal here is to get that blocked off again. The community standards bylaws, we move closer to the spring. We are ramping up preparation for a spring cleanup. A notice was posted in last month's newsletter announcing our spring cleanup in the areas of focus, that being commercial properties, with a special focus on the entry points to town and along Highway 2A where the town is first experienced by visitors. In the last 3 months, community standard bylaw violations that were concluded by warning were about 42.9%, and only 2.9 were concluded with enforcement or charges. So some targeted enforcement. As we were with the last meeting here, we're still doing targeted enforcement on Harrison Street and Limit Ave where we got complaints. There has been a decrease in the complaints received by municipal enforcement regarding the speed of motor vehicles in the areas of Limit Ave and Harrison Street. Residents are commenting on seeing an increase in enforcement presence on these streets. Patrols in these roads have been occurring multiple times throughout the day by both municipal enforcement and the RCMP. Municipal enforcement continues to adjust scheduling since then to address the issues after normal business hours and on weekends. This has been accomplished by adding patrols later in the evenings and on weeknights and occasional weekends. Additionally, the digital speed sign has been operated and is still on Limit Ave. That data was recently pulled to see if there's any difference with the warm weather and whether or not speeds would increase. And there was no difference from the last time we drew the data off there. So the speeds are still consistently 3 to 10 kilometers over the speed limit for people who are speeding, with haphazard higher speeds at the later hours when enforcement is and other people are just simply not around. Recent changes to scheduling. So both municipal enforcement and the RCMP have looked at ways to address the some of the increased crime that's being perceived in town. Break-ins to vehicles, theft of trailers, that kind of thing. So we have adjusted some of the shifting. Both Constable McWhinney and myself are trying to align our schedules until June, probably the end of June. His schedule cannot be changed according to his bosses because there is a shortage of rural staff, and he's in a position where he's able to cover certain shifting should there be an emergency. However, this past weekend, we worked together. We both moved our shifts to later in the evening. We worked till about 11:30 at night. And we spent time doing some check stops. We spent some time doing some targeted lasers and patrols just in the general area, looking for seatbelts and cell phones, etc. We found a lot of people still driving under somewhat of an influence. Beers within the center console that were visible when we'd stop them, that they were drinking while they're driving. In fact, on Saturday night, we did a check stop just off of Lot Avenue by the Harvest Restaurant, where people were coming in off of the 2A. They wouldn't know we were there until such time as they come around the corner, so they're committed now. And Constable McWhinney was dealing with a person who blew a caution. And at the same time, I pulled a red Dodge pickup truck in, and the first thing I saw was 2 Bud Lights in the center console. Smelled very strongly of liquor, glazed eyes. And when he was directed to pull to the side, he chose not to and turned the vehicle wheels towards me and hammered the gas. And if it wasn't for the fact that it's a diesel truck and a slow takeoff, I don't know if I would have been able to jump out of the way, but in this case, I was able to. And he took off up Railway Street. He was not pursued. I did get a license plate, however, and it matched the vehicle, so somebody got a lot of tickets in the mail. We again have hired our bylaw summer student. Francisca Eady is returning again this year to be sworn in again tonight. As a result of this position last year, we had seen an increase in compliance with property maintenance and received increased follow-up questions and engagement regarding requirement and notification of compliance. This position allows a collaborative bylaw focus targeting community standards issues while allowing myself, the peace officer, to focus on other enforcement duties such as traffic enforcement. Speed seems to be a good portion of the percentages for provincial offenses, as well as seatbelts and failure to stop at stop signs, which was about 3.3% of those offenses. Whereas bylaw, public interest, and safety files, 42% were given warnings, and then 2.9 again were charged. And charges are for people that are repeat offenders or that I don't think are going to benefit from more education. Some of the anticipated initiatives for 2024, bicycle rodeo. There's one actually being scheduled for the end of the month here in association with one of the parenting groups. The car seat clinics, ongoing JFO operations with the RCMP, pedestrian safety check stops, seatbelt restraints, and then vehicle safety. You guys have any questions for me?
All right, questions for Trevor? Okay, I'll start us out. Just curious this year, with the enforcement with our community standards bylaw. What is the process for that this year? Opposed to what we did last year?
So this year, I've already sent out a, we put an article in this last newsletter that went out, identifying kind of what our goals were in terms of town cleanup and beautification and expectations, and that we would be following up with some notices to be sent out based on identified problems or violations with the community standards bylaw. And then from there, from those notices, if it is found that it's the same problems and the same offenders that don't respond well with just the notification and reminders, then that may be a time, and not necessarily, but it may be a time that that's escalated to enforcement through fines.
Yeah, I noticed in the newsletter, you said a few things of, what you were looking for. I'm just curious, like the notices didn't go over very well last year. And even though we have given some education up front through one newsletter, is there anything else that we can do up front, just encouraging people to clean up their yards and stuff on their own before we go down the path of giving out notices?
Yeah, so I think that's exactly what we did with the newsletter. The information goes on the town Facebook page. And then following that, these notices that go out, there's still another method of notification and warning. So it's not an enforcement action. It's just, hey, maybe you didn't know this. Here's the bylaw. This is something that needs to be addressed. If you have any questions, we can answer it. If you need assistance with this or you need some time, have the discussion with us. And only after we've gone through all these steps that would be considered reasonable would it be escalated to enforcement. Like I said, it's very rare, and the percentages for enforcement for bylaw infractions are fairly low.
Yeah, I get that. I just think that one notice in the newsletter probably isn't enough. It really takes people at least 7 to 9 times before they even know something's happening. To read it or notice it or see it or hear it.
Through the chair, I think we can probably also maybe just as we progress into our spring months here, we could probably increase those social media posts as well, just to try and get that reminder going. And then I believe also in the notice that they receive, there is a number in there that says, please contact us if you have questions.
Yes,
Is that
that-
correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Just a few more notifications. People will look at one and go, okay.
Yeah.
Then they see it again and then they see it again and then they start paying attention.
And maybe we can we'll try and maybe change up the notices so that they're a little different, so you don't get that notice fatigue or whatever you call
Yeah,
it, or you
for
start
sure.
ignoring it. And maybe throw some examples of, hey, you shouldn't do this, or so we can look at different ways.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you. That's it. Thanks for your report. Any other questions? Good. All right. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
A motion that the Community Peace Officer 2024 Q1 quarterly report be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Francisca, you ready? I'm gonna come up and I'll come over there actually and we'll get you all sworn in. I know. Want to make sure.
I, Francisca Edie, do solemnly declare that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the position of bylaw enforcement officer for the town of Crossfield. Oh, well.
Right on.
Hey, can I get a motion then, please? 4.2.
Through the chair, I'll make the motion that Francisca Edie be appointed as bylaw enforcement officer for the town of Crossfield from May 7th, 2024 to August 31st, 2024.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 4.3, Fire Department Quarterly Update, Chief Messner.
Good evening, your worship, council members. Thank you very much for this opportunity to provide the quarterly update. Just some highlights as to what's happening as of the first quarter of the year. The department's continuing to look for potential replacements for engine 155. I know on the report it says 154. My apologies. That is a correction that needs to be made. It is a replacement for engine 155. Discussions have been conducted with administration and will continue as to what the potential of our present fleet, what that replacement may look like, as well as also the future plan for the department's replacement plan. Members have received their SCBA mass, individual SCBA mass. It's been well received. They very much like the idea of having their own individual mass just for health and safety reasons. And also with that, each of them have been fit tested as well in accordance to OH&S requirements for our department. The AFRAX radio project, it did take a little bit of a hit due to some supply issues that we were having with the radios. But it has been identified to me here as of late that the supply of radios are starting to trickle in. And we're hoping to have the equipment in place here by the end of this month, at least the supply to be completed. There is still some more work to in terms of some administrative work and also some discussions with some of our neighboring partners in terms of sharing of channels and so on. So that's still continuing. We did a little bit of organization, a little bit of cleanup within the fire hall, and with that, it provided us an opportunity to provide some of the equipment, some of the old bunker gear that we have, and we were able to provide that to a company in Calgary, which supplies and sends over these items over to the Ukraine, which is where it is very much needed. So that was a great way for us to be able to clean up and actually be able to provide the needs of others at the same time. So Our training, 1001 training is continuing. As some of our members are going to be concluded the training and hopefully pass the testing and the evaluation here as of June. We've had to split up the group due to the large number that was within that group. So our existing members or our more veteran members that are taking the training, they're the ones that we're going to be focusing in on June. Our recruits, we're actually going to postpone their training more towards probably the end of summer, beginning of fall. This allows them a little bit more time to get more comfortable with our operations. And it also allows us to ensure their safety in terms of our operations as well, ensuring that they're ready to hit the floor at the end of that training. Call volume has been steady. As you can tell here, it's 125 calls as of April 25th. Call volume, and forgive me, I don't have the exact numbers. We are slightly down from where we were at that time last year. In the next quarterly review, what I'd like to provide for you exactly where we are in terms of past years, so you have a little bit better idea as to what where we are from last year or the year before to this year. We are potentially going to be expecting an uptick this summer, especially with the talk of a dry summer. So these numbers could definitely spike here this summer, and we could be on par for previous years as well. Just as an addition, if you don't mind, Your Worship, if I may just also add in this as well, is that we were afforded the opportunity to do a fire preparedness, fire safety session with the United Church. This is a group that reached out to us. I'd like to provide a special thanks to Beth Gabriel and Sue McFarland, who headed this session. They did an absolutely fantastic job. It was basically a focus on basic home safety. We also spoke about emergency preparedness, evacuations, so on and so forth. Just a lot of fire safety focused items. It was very, very well received, and I'm going to be taking a look at seeing if we can maybe do this on an annual basis potentially. So that's all I have for the report. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. So questions for Chief?
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Councillor Knight.
Just want to follow up. You had mentioned that the call volume is similar, or when you do the next report, we're going to eliminate the calls that we've abandoned back then, right? So just so that we're like for like the calls that we no longer attend to and adhere to.
You're through the chair, you're referring to the alphas,
Yeah,
Bravo
correct.
radicals.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I may just add to that, Councillor, one of the reasons why I also didn't want to really define basically the medicals is AHS had a little bit of technical issues in terms of initiating our new medical response plan. So our medical response plan, the new medical response plan, wasn't actually initiated until March 19th. So we had January, February, and half of March, whereas we were still attending alphas and bravos. So this period from March until the next report should be able to provide a little bit better idea as to how that's affected our
Thanks for that clarification.
Great, you just answered my question.
Okay.
That's perfect. All right, any other questions? I just had one. I'm just curious, what does a public assist look like?
I'm sorry?
You have public assist, 8 calls?
Oh, public assist. This would consist of some probably the more anomaly calls. Public assist would be coinciding with RCMP request for response, for investigation of something. One of the public assist calls that we went to was some smoldering. It actually wasn't a fire, but RCMP came upon some smoldering materials, and that is something that we would put under that particular call.
Yep, fair enough. Thank you. All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, can I get a motion, please?
To the chair. A motion that the fire department 2024 Q1 quarterly report be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's motion carried. Oh, National 4.4, National Volunteer Week. Nicole.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and thank you for having me here this evening. So I'm here to give you guys an update on our National Volunteer Week. So the third full week of April was National Volunteer Week, which was the 14th to the 20th, with the theme being Every Moment Matters for 2024. I am happy to share that we were officially approved for the National Volunteer Week enhancement through the Volunteer Alberta and Alberta government to be a feature site. So it was for $600. I know at the last council meeting I was at, we hadn't heard yet, so we did get that. The funding was used to enhance our celebrations for National Volunteer Week. Leading up to the month of April, I reached out by email to our volunteer groups to ask about their monthly April meeting and offered to join them at the beginning of that meeting. I could come introduce myself, thank their group for volunteering, and bring them some treats as well that were locally purchased in a thank you card. Throughout the month of April, I was able to stop into or get thank you goodies over to 14 groups who volunteer in the town of Crossfield. I was also able to reach out by email to those groups I was unable to attend, to email them a heartfelt thank you to the group for volunteering in our community. To coincide with the National Volunteer Week, we also accepted nominations from the community for the Stars of Crossfield Awards for the following categories. So we had Community Champion. This award recognizes an individual who, with a generous disposition and compassion, has touched the lives of others in the Crossfield community through friendship, help, advocating, and/or guidance. The second category was Mentor of the Year. This award recognizes an individual who's a trusted tutor, coach, counselor, or guide to others in the Crossfield community as a role model and leader in their chosen field. And then our last category was Volunteer of the Year. And this award recognizes a dedicated individual who has made outstanding contributions to the Crossfield community through their volunteer work. The nominees for the Community Champion Award were Carmen Cornelius, Chantel Winslow, Charlotte Blackwell, Janice Graham, and Terry McCula. And then the nominees for Mentor of the Year Award were Cheryl Shea, Chris Sones, and Matthew Kamistik. And then nominees for Volunteer of the Year Award were Brittany Maychak, Cindy Edmonston, and Debbie Stiles. So the selection process for determining a winner for each category was put out to a selections committee. It was made up of 5 individuals from our community who were not nominees. They had to sign a confidentiality agreement, and they needed to declare any conflicts of interest if any had arose. They were sent guidelines, the names of the nominees, and the reason they were nominated pulled directly from the nomination we received, and scorecards for each category. They were then tasked with reading through all the nomination forms and filling out the scorecards for each nominee and category. Once I received those back, then I would go through the scorecards, add up the scores that we got, and the winner was determined by a score. In the event of a tiebreaker, the selections committee would have then met virtually to determine the winner. This process allowed for the town of Crossfield administration to be completely removed from the process of selecting and determining winners. This evening, prior to our council meeting, we invited all nominees and +1 to attend for a little award ceremony, and we had Mayor Harris announce the winners of each category over light refreshments. Included in the celebration was also the town of Crossfield volunteer drivers with the Meals on Wheels program, to also thank them for volunteering to deliver meals from Airdrie to Crossfield residents. So I am happy to share the winners of the categories and present your 2024 Stars of Crossfield. As the 2024 Community Champion went to Chantel Winslow. The 2024 Mentor of the Year went to Matthew Kamistik, and the 2024 Volunteer of the Year went to Brittany Maychuk. I would like to congratulate all nominees and winners for this year's 2024 Stars of Crossfield and send another heartfelt thank you to all volunteers. They've truly made Crossfield a better place. Does anyone have any questions?
Thanks, Nicole. Really great event. Thanks for recognizing volunteers in Crossfield. They're one of the most important things that we have here. That's what makes everything move in Crossfield. So thank you for that. I don't have any questions, just a comment. Whether you're nominated as a volunteer or not, you're valued by this community, by council, and by the town. We can't do it without the volunteers. So whether you're nominated, whether you were one of the winners this year, I think that all the volunteers are winners.
I agree.
Questions for Nicole? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion, please?
Through the chair,
Go ahead.
make the motion that the National Volunteer Week update be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Uh,
Motion carried. Okay, 5.1 Seniors Week proclamation.
So for Seniors Week, the first full week of June is Seniors Week, where Albertans can show appreciation for Alberta's seniors and all that they contribute to Alberta. The FCSS department would like to celebrate Seniors Week in 2024 by partnering with local seniors organizations to celebrate seniors in our community. Funding for Seniors Week would come from internal FCSS operating budget for 2024. The overall goal of FCSS is to enhance social well-being by recognizing and showing appreciation to our seniors is a great way to enhance the social well-being of the seniors who call Crossfield home. So we are hoping that town council could make a proclamation declaring June 3rd to the 9th of 2024 as Seniors Week in Crossfield.
Okay. Any questions for Nicole? All right, I'll make the motion that council declares June 3rd to 9th, 2024, Seniors Week in Crossfield. All in favor? Motion carried. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Item 5.2, June 8th, 2024 parade road closure, Railway Street. Director Nash.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Good evening, council. Yes, so in addition to the usual parade route closure, the Chamber of Commerce and the Town of Crossfield Pete Night Parade Committee are requesting the additional closure of Railway Street / Whitfield Avenue from Limit Avenue at the Fire Hall north to McCaskill Drive. This enables parade entries to stage directly on the street as they arrive and not be impeded by traffic, which became a safety issue during the 2023 parade staging. Attached to this report is a map that you can take a look at the proposed closure area. The proposed closure for this portion of road is requested to begin at 9:30 a.m. on June 8th, 2024, and will be reopened immediately following the parade. With the traffic related to the Egg Society's breakfast and the farmers market set up, this closure will ensure the area is safer for our parade participants, many of which are children, and will prevent blocking of the parking area in front of the hall. The rest of the parade route will be closed or will close at 10:30 a.m. as it historically has. Fire Chief Mesner has requested that an attendant provided by the parade committee be in place at the barricade nearest to the fire hall to ensure the fire department emergency vehicles have easy access into and out of the area without disruption of any nature. Parade committee has confirmed that no parade staging will take place in front of the fire hall and that security will be working the barricades at both the intersection of Limit Avenue and Railway Street at the fire hall, as well as the intersection of Whitfield Avenue and McCaskill Drive. The administration recommends that council approve the temporary closure of Railway Street, Whitfield Avenue from Limit Avenue at the fire hall, north to McCaskill Drive from 9:30 a.m. until completion of the Pete Night Days Parade on Saturday, June 8th, 2024.
Thank you. Questions? No questions.
Safety thing.
Who's making a motion? Council Brennan.
Through the chair.
Okay, pass it on.
Do these couple items need to be done individually, or is that?
No, those are all together.
Right through? Okay.
Yeah, take a deep breath.
I move that council approve the temporary closure of Railway Street, Whitfield Avenue from Limit Ave at the Fire Hall north to McCaskill Drive for the annual Pete Night Days Parade on June 8th, 2024 from 9:30 a.m. until completion of the parade, and that the Chamber of Commerce ensures barricades associated with this closure are supervised to allow quick access and egress for emergency vehicles, and that the full east side of Railway Street remain clear for emergency vehicles, and that the Chamber of Commerce provide a copy of adequate liability insurance listing the town of Crossfield as an additional named insured for the event, and that the town operations department provide the required barricades for the street closure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Recreation Board funding, parade funding 5.3.
That's me again.
Mm-hmm.
So the Crossfield Chamber of Commerce and Town of Crossfield Parade Committee requested funding from the Crossfield Recreation Board in the amount of $2,000 to help with parade costs, including insurance. The Crossfield Recreation Board considered this application. It wasn't not out of season, but out of regular funding meeting time. But that is within the Crossfield Recreation Board's mandate to also hear those as they come in. So they did discuss it, and they did make a motion as noted within the report to approve that $2,000 funding request to assist with costs related to the parade, including the insurance. It is a recommendation from administration that will be made to the parade committee to consider looking at sponsorship of the parade, as well as a 2-tier entry fee, one being for not-for-profit organizations and one for businesses. I'm not sure if that also was recommended through the recreation board or not.
It was.
Yeah, so that will be put forward to them as well. So administration recommends that council approve the Crossfield Recreation Board's recommendation to fund the Crossfield Chamber of Commerce's request to assist with costs related to the Pete Night Days Parade, including insurance, in the amount of $2,000.
Right. Any questions? Okay, no questions. How about a motion?
Through the chair.
Go
I'll
ahead.
make the motion that council approve the Crossfield Recreation Board's recommendation to fund the Crossfield Chamber of Commerce request to assist with the costs related to the Pete Night Days Parade, including insurance in the amount of $2,000.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Looks like you're up again. Travis agreement, item 5.4.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Yes, so the Travis MJ agreement. So the Travis MJ agreement we have with the province expired on March 31st, 2024. This agreement was in effect for a term of 5 years, commencing on April 1st, 2014, and was subsequently extended for an additional 5-year term expiring on March 31st of this year. The acronym for this agreement stands for Transportation Routing and Vehicle Information System Multi-Jurisdiction, and was put in place in 2014 to provide a simplified, centralized, and electronic system for permitting oversized commercial vehicles. As noted in the background section on page 1 of the attached agreement, Travis MJ was designed to provide municipalities with a modern permit database tool which gives them the ability to easily approve or deny permits issued by the province for travel on roads under their authority, and to facilitate the sharing of permit revenue between the province and the municipalities. Essentially, this agreement allows for companies to apply to the province for a permit to haul overweight or over-dimension loads on our roadways. The province then collects the fees for these permits and distributes them to municipalities participating in this program. To provide council with a sense of the number of permits that are pulled for overweight or over-dimension loads affecting roads under the town of Crossfield's jurisdiction, in 2023, there was a total of 617 permits issued. Many of these permits were for heavy equipment, vessels, cranes, and portable modular buildings. The new Travis MJ agreement is for a 3-year term, commencing on April 1st, 2024, and expiring on March 31st, 2027. Section 2.2 of the agreement also allows for the agreement to be extended for an additional 3-year term. Administration has completed research pertaining to the various fees available to the town within this system and the potential inclusion of a fixed municipal fee, which is noted here. So there are 2 fees that are available to us. One of them being the variable fee, which is a fee set by the province and based on weight and distance traveled on roads under a municipality's jurisdiction. And the second fee is a fixed municipal fee, which is set by the municipality by bylaw for oversized load permits on roads under the municipality's jurisdiction. So currently, the town of Crossfield does not have a fixed municipal fee for oversized commercial vehicle permits. Thus, the fees we currently receive are based on the province's variable fee. And in 2023, those fees collected by the province on our behalf totaled $130.43. We have discovered that many municipalities across Alberta do actually charge a fixed municipal fee for oversized loads, of which most of those fees are in the $20 to $25 per permit range. The majority of these municipalities also use a company called Road Data Services to administer their permit approvals. So these municipalities do include ones such as Didsbury, Olds, Drumheller, Mountain View County, Nehill County, Rockview County, Wheatland County, Strathmore. The list is quite long. I believe it's 71% of municipalities who participated in it actually use Road Data Services. So Road Data Services does charge a fee of $16 per permit to monitor the Travis system and review applications and provide approval or denial based on the municipality's policies. Currently, all Travis permit applications for the town of Crossfield are auto-approved based on Alberta transportation guidelines for movement on provincial highways, which may not actually meet the standards of our local roadways. Partnering with Road Data Services will help ensure that our policies, procedures, and requirements are met. If a fixed municipal fee were to be implemented, the town were to partner with Road Data Services, the province would collect the Travis permit fees, so that would be both the variable and the fixed fee, on our behalf and distribute them to us on a quarterly basis. Road Data would then invoice the town directly based on the number of permit applications reviewed and approved. To help encourage companies to follow permitting requirements, Road Data recommends that fixed municipal fees be set in the range of $20 to $25 per permit, and that fees that are set too high may result in companies trying to avoid that permitting system. So there is a little breakdown here. I'm not going to go through it all there, but it does show based on 2023 numbers what our net revenue would be depending on the what is charged for the permit. So based on a $20 permit fee and 617 permits issued in 2023, the total net revenue to the town would be just under $2,600. And if it was set at $25 per permit, that would put the net revenue to the town to just under $5,700. So the recommendation is that administration recommends that council approve the Travis MJ agreement as presented. It is further recommended that council direct administration to proceed with implementing a fixed municipal fee under the Travis system set at $25 per permit. Resources to review applications and administer approvals for this program are currently not available within our organization. Therefore, administration also recommends that should council wish to implement a fixed municipal fee, the town engage with Road Data Systems to provide Travis permit review and approval services for the town of Crossfield. Council may also choose to direct the net revenue collected from the Travis MJ fees to a reserve specifically set aside for future road improvements. Implementation of a fixed municipal fee will take some time as a permitting policy will need to be developed to provide rules, processes, and regulations are specific to Crossfield. In addition, the fees and rates bylaw will have to be updated. Should council agree to move forward with implementation of this fee and partnering with Road Data Services, administration will bring the necessary documentation back for approval when it is complete, estimated to be the middle of 2024, Q3.
Thanks, Russ. Questions for us? No questions?
I
Any
do.
discussion? You got
Sorry,
a
I was moving
question?
my mic.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Russ, I'm just curious as to why it went from a 5-year term to a 3-year term. Is it just something new that they had implemented or?
Actually don't know the reason behind that.
Yeah.
I imagine one of the reasons would be just to be able to revisit the agreement on a more regular basis.
Okay, which makes sense.
The chair.
Go ahead.
Howdy, Russ. So does that $25 per permit ensure that we're covered for the expense on every load that has to go by? Like if the Alberta one is variable based on how much and how far, does this take into account any possible outcome that goes through if we're locked in at that?
So yeah, that fee would be charged. It's a flat fee. So if any load comes into the town on our roads,
Mhm.
it's $25.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it was $25 each time that they do that. So if a company has 5 loads coming through town through a week, they get charged 5 loads times $25
Okay,
or 5 loads coming.
right. And
I believe it'd be 5 loads coming in, and if they did have loads coming out, it'd be 5 more loads coming out. It'd be another $25 per load or per trip.
okay. And then I think I read in there somewhere that it was recommended not to go too much higher than that. So
Correct.
that's okay.
Correct.
Right.
And
Fair
looking
enough.
through, I do have a document that shows all of the municipalities that charge fees. And I would say a good majority of them, probably in the 75% range, are in that $20 to $25 range. There's a couple that are at 30, a couple that are down at 15.
Oh, okay. So
There's
it's
one
more
at
like
300, which is,
Oh, wow.
I thought was actually a typo, and apparently it isn't. I'd be interested to see how many permits they actually
I
process
was
in a
gonna
year,
say there must be nobody going through there.
Saves on their
Or
roads.
nobody getting a permit.
but right,
Oh, that too. Fair enough.
right.
All right. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Through the chair, I do have one more question, Russ. So I know generally they have to have a permit when they bring a load here. So what about the trucks that we have, say, that park at the Shell overnight that are fully loaded? Do they
So,
have to have a permit to come in and park there overnight before they leave the next morning?
so these permits are for overweight and oversize. So
Okay.
the ones that would be parking in town typically they wouldn't
They
fall
don't
into that
qualify.
category.
Okay.
They're within their weight limit.
Okay. Because we're getting a lot more bigger trucks on Main Street, I'm noticing, than what we've had in the past. And we're gonna wreck our new railway street. Okay, that was my
No,
question.
the fees aren't gonna cover that,
Yeah.
Take a lot of years. But
right?
Yeah.
All right, anything else for us? Great, can I get a motion then? Counselor Brennan,
I move that council approve the Travis MJ agreement with the government of Alberta wait a minute. Yeah, as presented, and that council directs administration to implement a fixed municipal fee under the Travis MJ system at a rate of $25 per permit, and that administration engage with Road Data Services to provide Travis permit review and approval for services for the town of Crossfield, and that the net revenue collected from the Travis MJ permit fees be allocated to reserve at the end of each year dedicated to future road improvements.
all in favor?
Aye.
Counselor Brennan, you're getting your workout tonight. Thanks, Director Nash. Okay, moving on to item 6, council reports. I continue to have my CO mayor's weekly meetings. I attended the mayor's mid-sized town caucus meeting in Pinoka this past week. We talked about strategies to advocate for more infrastructure funding and specialized funding pot for mid-sized towns, 1,000 to 15,000 population. We're gonna invite Premier Smith to our next meeting and talk to her about the inequalities between what towns get to what Edmonton, Calgary get. They get 51% of the LGFF currently, and the rest of the 300 and some municipalities have to share the other 49%. In addition to that, Calgary and Edmonton get special pots of money for recreation, transportation, or whatever special project that they might have. And what this group wants to do is advocate for our towns to have a little piece of that pie as well.
Mhm.
So that was our main discussion there. I'm happy to send out the minutes once I receive them to all of council and to CO Barney as well. And of course, I attended the volunteer night tonight. Deputy Mayor.
Nothing
Night.
further to report.
Yep. Councilor Brennan.
Yes, I also attended tonight's event. It was very well done. Glad to see everybody out. And I attended a Marigold Library meeting recently that I finally got the minutes for as well. And this piece will be going out to CO Kinza or Barney. but I wanted to bring these points forward first. We will pay $880 less for 2024 than down from $23,734.04 to 22,800. Oh wait, I think it's got that back. No, yeah, that's right. $22,853. And the library board will pay $337 less from, well, $16,533 to $16,195. The library board will receive full transfer payment operating grant for Marigold for the higher population of 2024 that we promised to provide in January, which is $9,185. There's a couple other points that will be sent to you here, but the main one was that for this year at least, we'll be getting $880 back.
Wow.
I know.
Never
Not
get
every
money
year we do
back.
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Thanks for the update,
of course.
Counselor Fox.
I've just been doing some sporadic work with the Recreation Board. We did have our special meeting on April 23rd with BDO. And I also attended the volunteer awards tonight before our council meeting.
Hey, Counselor Gustafson.
I had a Rockview Foundation meeting on the 24th of April. That's it.
Any exciting news? They're not going to charge us anymore, are they?
No, hopefully we are setting up a some engagement with our new CAO to come and present to us
Right.
in an upcoming council meeting.
That sounds great. Thank you. Counselor Lambert.
Nothing to report.
Counselor Vang.
I have nothing to report.
Great. Okay, can I get a motion on,
Through the chair.
actually, hang on.
Were you going ahead, Councillor Lambert?
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Lambert, go ahead.
That the council reports be accepted as presented.
Very good. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. You're keeping that seat warm. Okay, Director of Community and Protective Services, Russ Nash.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Yes, so before you have my monthly update, I'll touch on a few highlights. For grants, as Nicole had mentioned, we did receive the National Volunteer Week Enhancement Fund grant for $600. We did also receive our Canada Summer Jobs funding. It was a little less than we'd applied for, but that's typical. We ended up being approved for an amount of $23,100. And then we also ended up getting $10,000 through the TC Energy Build Strong grant for new help with replacement of bunker gear for the fire department. Moving along, so our summer recreation program staff started yesterday. They've started preparing for our summer activities and events. Planning for the Pete Night Days Pancake Breakfast is also underway. So entertainment has been booked, and Eris is organizing staff for kitchen and serving duties and creating marketing for the event. And again, this year we will have Callaway Park tickets available at the town office. They're at a discounted price, so they'll be available throughout the summer as well for residents to purchase. In Parks and Facilities, our Parks and Facilities Operator 2 position has been filled. Happy to report that Kevin Brinson was the successful candidate in that, so he will be staying with us. He will move into the new position at the beginning of July, following Kimber's return from maternity leave. Again, the summer staff, they started yesterday in our Parks Department. We also received our new mowers and RTVs, which came on April 29th, and they're now in service. There's been a bunch of maintenance going on the sports fields, including adding shale, installing new base plates, aerating, fertilizing, repairing benches and bleachers, repairing fences, dugouts, some gopher control, that sort of stuff. Not a lot of real exciting updates to date on the capital projects. Work is still moving forward on those, but nothing really exciting yet. The arena, I am happy to report that we did fill the arena supervisor position as well. Successful candidate was Randy Copeland. He brings a lot of experience to our team, previously working with Calgary, Airdrie, Three Hills, Kindersley, Sate, and currently he also works with Calgary Sports and Entertainment for the Flames and Wranglers and Hitmen. So he's got a lot of experience. He started yesterday as well. Yesterday was a busy day.
Yeah.
And Brian, this gives an opportunity for him to train with Brian for a couple of weeks before he leaves us for his retirement. Protective Services, you received your quarterly updates from both CPO Stevens and Fire Chief Mesner. And then just under emergency management, Joe, Trevor, and myself attended a Director of Emergency Management workshop in Airdrie on April 17th. There is an update I do have for you as well here that I didn't include in my report, but I just wanted to kind of mention it here. So with Rocky View Schools, they're doing a review of their ward boundaries. So this review and potential change could have a pretty good impact on Crossfield and our representation with the trustees or the trustee for our area. There's 3 options that they put out there. I believe they're also entertaining other ideas or options, but 2 of the options actually have our ward combining with another, I guess it'd be the southeast ward of the county. So it'd be in the Langdon Indus area. It creates a very large area. So, there is potential that we could have less representation at the school board level if that happens, which doesn't bode well for Crossfield if that happens. So they do have some public meetings scheduled in May, as well as a survey open until June 16th. I just want to encourage interested residents and parents within the town to make sure that you provide your input on the survey and attend the meetings if you're able to because it could, like I say, affect representation on the school board if they move in those directions. So yeah, just want to encourage people to do that.
Is there a chance? Well, I guess there always a chance. Can we send a letter from council?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. If you want to maybe draft a little something. Okay, perfect.
So yes, that's my update. I just wanted to also mention, so the website for this public engagement through Rocky View Schools is rvsengage.com.
Do we have that up on our website?
So we are going to the school division post. They made their own post, so we're going to actually share that post through our social media to
Excellent.
make people aware. Yeah.
I know we don't usually do this, but if we could put it on the forums, I think we'll get a little more traction than just our town website. Okay, great. Any questions for Director Nash? Okay, I just have one. On the Western Drive dog park fencing and upgrades. I know that depending on the feasibility study that we could be expanding the lagoons, but is there a portion over there that we could fence?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
And that's I kind of wanted to see how that final report shapes out and then have a discussion or I guess be part of that discussion with council to see where we're leaning and then I guess take a look at where that final proposed drawing might go, because I think we could probably put one. It'd be smaller, obviously, but it'd be probably where the temporary fencing is right now on the, I guess it'd be the east edge of that. I think we could probably do something there. And again, potentially, depending on how far they come and how close they come to the Western Drive, there may be an opportunity to put one along there. So we could probably maybe have two
Mhm.
smaller areas, but still, I think be sufficient for a dog park area. And potentially, we could go further west than it currently goes. We'd have to remove some of those larger trees and replace them along the outskirts of the dog park. But there are potentially some options there.
There's some options. Okay.
We didn't want to really go forward yet and put some money into putting a fence in, and then all of a sudden in 5 to 10 years have to go, whoa, we got to take that out now. So
It's true. Do we have a timeline on that feasibility study?
Mayor Harris, no, we have not yet confirmed the exact date, but when we last spoke with MPE, we were talking about probably mid-June, having them come back to do the final wrap up with council on their presentation.
Okay. And then how much time, Russ, would you need if a decision was made on that feasibility study? How much time do you need to complete that fencing?
I don't want to promise anything, but I think,
Not a date, just time.
yeah, likely just because we'd be moving into busy season for
Mhm.
fence installs. So if we,
Let me
I'm going to
put-
say probably fall if we can
Okay.
really push them fall of this year.
Okay.
Late fall, maybe depends on how busy they are as well too. So we do have the quotes that have come in. So and I'm sorry, when was the feasibility study
June.
coming back? June, right?
Mid-June.
So yeah, I'm gonna say I wouldn't promise anything before fall, late fall.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds good. Thank you. Okay, operations update. Oh, sorry, one more question.
Sure.
Last year we budgeted for a GPS unit for municipal enforcement. Has that, and we carry forward to this year, or it's still in the budget this year?
No, it actually got installed at the end of last year.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all in.
That's in and
Yeah.
operational.
Perfect. I was just looking for an update on that, so that's great. Excellent. Operations update. It's the Director Nash show tonight.
Gotta be a record.
All right.
You don't need any more employees. You got Russ.
So yes, operations monthly update before you. So the new development officer has been hired. Sherry Humphrey started on May 1st. For operations, street sweeping is underway and it will continue. They've started some grooming of alleys. They started grading of the back roads, but in a lot of cases, the roads are still too saturated and wet. That was as of obviously today it's going to be wet again, but they're waiting for them to dry out a bit because the equipment causes damage to the roads as they're trying to fix them. Same goes for the dog park parking lot. Some areas of Western Drive were repaired with grindstone paving. And the transformation of the single purpose vehicle into the multi-purpose. So the truck went to Calgary yesterday to get the lift installed, which will be about 3 weeks. And following that, it will move its way up to Atchison to have the sander put on. Grindstone Paving will be performing the summer asphalt overlay program for us. It will include Hammond Avenue west of Munson Street and Lott Avenue at the entrance of Highway 2A. The aerial man lift, we're awaiting arrival of that piece of equipment, and the Westgate Estates fence quotes are coming in for that. So some updates there on those capital projects. Wastewater department, I apologize. Joe was unable to get a written update to me before submission. He had some water breaks, and then he had some personal items he had to, or some personal matters he had to tend to. But he did provide me an update, so I do have a verbal update for you from water wastewater. The server installation at the water plant has been completed. So he now has remote monitoring of the water plant and wastewater lift stations available to him on his phone and his computer. We had a leaky water valve that was repaired at McCaskill Park. It's the water line that goes into the little concession building there. So that still needs to be rehabbed. We also had a leaking water valve that was replaced at 1601 Athabasca Street. Joe used a new method for this leak. It worked out really well. They used a hydrovac excavation where they used a hydrovac and then lowered a culvert in as for the safety, and the rehab on that is significantly less. So I think moving forward, he's going to look at doing that instead of these big excavations that cause a lot of damage. So it actually saved us. There's trees all around this one, and so none of the trees had to come down or get damaged or anything like that. So it went really well. So he was very pleased. Testing of the wastewater system water quality has been completed. He's waiting on lab results for that. One of the capital projects here is the programmable logic controller replacement. It appears that there's been an increase in the cost of the PLC for that. So Joe is exploring other options and solutions. At one point, he was told that we can't get any parts for the existing one. But it turns out we actually can get some parts. So he's investigating that to see if it's worth our time and funds to even go that route. But so he's working on that. A section of Lot Avenue will be closed from May 13th to 15th for water and sewer utilities for the Dairy Queen. Video inspection for the wastewater main replacement evaluation has been completed. He's just waiting on the report, which will give recommendations for prioritization of sewer main replacements. So that addresses those capital projects that you see there. And then with the turbidity monitor, it has been installed at the water plant. And it is actually also monitored by the SCADA system, which notifies Joe of any issues that may be detected. And Joe mentioned here he did have a tour of the new temporary wastewater lift station that's in Vista Crossing. Seems to be working well. That operation of that lift station is the responsibility of Dream, but he's in close contact with them to ensure, you know, if any issues come about, that he's notified of those. So, the fish ponds were stocked by Alberta Environment and Protected Areas. And we get this question a lot, and I never know the answer, but he gave it to me. We have they stock it with 700 trout. So there's 700 fish that have been stocked into there.
Okay.
That was done on May 2nd. And then the last update I've got for you here is it's not really, or it isn't within town, but I know it's been an interest of council and interest of the town is the Burger King and 7-Eleven out on the highway. So they have figured out what the problem was there, and they've discovered that the land actually had some previous contamination, not from pipelines, but from gas spills, oil spills, whatever it was over time. And so when they paved over parking lot, it built up the gases and it made its way into the building. So they have installed blowers and monitors. So the blowers to vent the building and monitors to monitor any gas situations, and they're going to be rebuilding them. They're actually hoping to have the bulk fuel or the cardlock station that's out there open by the end of May. And they do have to gut the buildings that are there and rebuild them because pipes froze and they had food rotting and animals and squatters and everything in there. So they have to rebuild the interiors. But they are hoping to have that reopened by late fall of this year. So just a little update on that one.
Excellent, thank you.
That is it.
Any questions? Nothing, good job. No questions.
Thank you.
All right, other Director Nash. Corporate Services update.
Good evening, council. My report is very short this month. Census workers have picked up their packages and door knockers were delivered on May 1st, so everybody should have received them. They will be going door to door starting May 17th with their tablets. They'll be training this week with their tablets, so they'll be out and about in the next couple of weeks. April has seen a large increase in interactions with citizen from 428 in March to 689 in April. This increase is mainly due to the April 15th utility bill due date and tax and utility inquiries. Finance update, as council knows, the 2023 audit has been completed and the financial information has been sent to municipal affairs. The 2024 budget was approved with no net change to the revenue required from property tax from the provisional budget approved in December. And the 2024 tax rate bylaw was approved and the bylaw was submitted to municipal affairs as well. And we've updated the website with property tax information to reflect the changes in the tax bylaw. The budget survey is to come out in May, and the 2024 combined tax assessment and tax notices will be mailed out on May 17th. So our finance department is getting those ready this week and next. And the list of new businesses is attached. Any questions?
Thank you. Anybody have questions? Great. I don't have any questions. It's nice to see new businesses. So Mountain View Millwright Services Limited, Cantor Electric, and Slate Athletic Therapy here in town. And then just a note that Crossfield Agencies Limited has moved.
Yeah, moving down across from the fire department.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. I also wanted to say, good job on the tax messages to residents this year, the pie chart, the information, really well done. So, I think that really helps our residents understand where their tax dollar is going
Yeah, for sure.
and, what they're being taxed for.
Yeah. And highlighting that it's the Rocky View
That's
School
right.
Division and Rocky View Foundation.
Foundation. Yeah, really good. Anything else for Lindsay? No. Hey, can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Go
I'll
ahead.
make the motion that the department director updates be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Outstanding items list, CO Bernie.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. No significant updates to the outstanding items list this evening. Everything on here remains on schedule with the exception of the wastewater treatment and disposal feasibility study. That one was slated for, it says Q4 of 2023. I'd just like to request that due date be adjusted to Q2 of 2024, acknowledging that the final report will come back in June in front of council.
Excellent. Any questions? Okay,
Through
somebody,
the chair, I do have.
yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
Just skinning through. Kinzo, so we were supposed to revisit the decorative lighting and anticipate moving it over to the community hall. And it was supposed to come back to council in April.
Yes, so through the chair, the decorative lighting is an item that does stand as an outstanding item. We've had a changeover in staffing on the entity that we were working with, so we do have some catch up to do there.
Oh.
And we've had some changes on our internal resources that have pushed that item out a little bit. So it does sit in Q2 of 2024. We anticipate that'll come forward within the next month or so.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Anything else? If there's nothing else, can I get a motion with the date change?
Through the chair, I'll make the motion that the outstanding items be accepted as presented.
All in favor? Motion carried. There's no
No.
correspondence. And everyone can go to the Crossfield website to have a look at the upcoming events and programs. Motion to adjourn.
Through the chair, I'll make the motion that council adjourn the meeting at 8:15.
All right, thank you. Gotta be quicker.